Hey everybody, you know what time it is. Come on in. I got something special going on today. So you see, I'm already prepped. I'm getting ready to make a big old crock pot full of chili for a special guy today. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to use. I'm going to be using some ground pork, ground beef, and some ground turkey. This is a pound of ground pork, a pound of ground beef, and a pound and a fourth of ground turkey. I'm going to use 1 cup of these chopped veggies. This is just some bell pepper and onions that I've already run through the Ninja. I'm going to be using some McCormick chili seasoning. I use the mild one. And when I get that meat browned up and those veggies all sauteed, I'm going to put them in the crock pot. And what I'm going to do after that, I'm going to add 6 cans of pinto beans, or you can use navy beans. It doesn't matter, whichever one you want to use. And then I want to use 3 cans of diced tomatoes. These are Hunt's diced tomatoes, and 1 small can of tomato paste. Now this is a big batch of chili, so you might want to cut this recipe in half. So remember, I'm using 3 1/4 pounds of meat, a cup of diced veggies, and a pack of chili seasoning, 6 cans of beans, 3 cans of tomatoes, and then I'm going to do a big squirt of tomato ketchup, which will probably be a 1/2 cup. Then I'm going to add to that, guess what? Some grandma's molasses, and for this amount I'm going to use probably maybe 1/2 tablespoon. Be careful with this stuff. This stuff is some potent stuff, so we don't want to use a lot. We just want to get that molasses flavor, because guess what? I don't have brown sugar today. I'm using white sugar, so I'm going to add 1/4 cup of white sugar. And the reason I add sugar and the molasses, that's just to cut some of the acidity from the tomatoes. So we are going to use also a tablespoon of salt, and I'm going to use a couple of tablespoons of mild chili powder. So those are all the seasonings that's going to go into my chili. So in the meantime, I've got to get this ground beef, this ground turkey, and this ground pork over to the stove. And I'm going to go ahead and get it into the pan. And we're going to brown it along with some of the cut up veggies. I'm going to saute that all up, put it into the crock pot, and then we're going to set that crock pot up to cook. It's probably 12 in the afternoon. The party is happening this evening at 7, so we're going to let it slow cook till about 7 o'clock, and it should be real good. And when it comes out, we'll show you what it looks like. Meanwhile, I'm going to sign off and go ahead and get that meat browned up, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like when it goes into that crock pot. So toodaloo for a minute, okay? Okay, y'all, I'm back. Look, I had to revert back to my trusty old stove and my big monster pot to do this chili. Now, the crock pot is not working for me today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. I'm going to cook it on top of the stove in my big pot. And when I get it all mixed up, I'm going to show you what it looks like. So I'm going to sign back off again. Now, I may put it in the crock pot for later when we get ready to serve it, just to keep it warm in the crock pot. But for right now, we're going to cook this chili the old-fashioned way. And for this amount of chili, I'm going to have to cook it 4 or 5 hours anyway. So I'll put it back in the crock pot just to let it sit there and look pretty. The crock pot is real pretty and fancy. But I'm going to cook it in my 40-year-old trusted giant size over-the-top pot. Okay, so I'll be back when I get it all mixed up, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay. See you in a minute. Okay, folks, I'm back again. I got it all together. It's starting to bubble a little bit, so that means it's cooking. So we're going to go ahead and cook this chili the old-fashioned way on top of the stove. Like I said, in my 40-year-old trusted big-time roasting pot. Because, you know, I'm a little bit extra, so we're doing a little bit extra here. So let's go over those ingredients one more time so you'll know what's in there. Now, this amount of chili is supposed to feed about 25 people, but again, they're going to be about 20 of us, 18 or 20 of us here tonight, and we've got all these other different kinds of foods that somebody else, you know, is cooking. And I'm going to do some fried rice to go with that chili and some corn muffins, and boy, that's a meal by itself. But since this is a special going away for one of my favorite grandsons, we're fixing all kinds of food. But I just thought I'd let you come on in with me and see how I did this chili. Now again, this chili is enough chili for 25 people. So unless you need to make enough for 25 people, you need to cut this recipe. But what you can do with chili, it freezes well. So if you want to make this much and bag it in quart-sized bags and eat it for later on, it makes a good meal right by itself over some rice or with some crackers or with some corn muffins. So let's recap those ingredients so you'll know what to go to the store and get whenever you go. So we're going to sign off for right now. And you know what? You might see this chili later on the flavor train. Maybe, just maybe. We'll see what happens. So later on, so if not, this is a chili that's going to make my grandson's day. So toodaloo for now until I give you the ingredients, and we'll talk later. Talk to you soon. Okay, now let's talk about ingredients. So what we're going to go to the store and get, if you want to make this much, and if not, just cut it in half, because if you cut it in half, you'll just make enough for 10. Okay, so that's not a lot. So we got 1 pound of ground beef, 1 pound of ground pork, and 1 pound and 1/4 of ground turkey. I've got 6 cans of pinto beans, 3 cans of diced tomatoes, 1 cup of ketchup, 1 large onion chopped, 1 medium bell pepper chopped, 3/4 cups of sugar, 1 tablespoon of molasses, 3 tablespoons of chili powder, 2 packs of McCormick chili mix, 1 tablespoon of, yeah, you heard it, soy sauce. Don't sleep on the soy sauce now. Go ahead and put it in there. It makes it, because you know it's all about the flavor. And we're going to do 2 tablespoons of that dry beef mix, 1 tablespoon of garlic salt, and 2 tablespoons of garlic powder. You got to just mix all this stuff together, put it in the pot, and let it rip. It doesn't have to go into the pot in any particular order. So for now, I'm going to put the lid on. There it goes. It's on the stove, and we're going to let that chili cook for the next 4 hours. And when the lid comes off again, we're going to serve it up. And boy, we're going to have us some good eating. So for right now, until later, toodaloo. See you on the flavor train.